I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Swift?
Here.
Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Mr. Wolfgang is absent. Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Sherry?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Eldridge?
Present.
Mr. Kubiak?
Here.
Ms. Heidig is present.
Okay, old business. M&L Adventure LLC, site plan and final plat. Petitioner, Bislaw, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Owner, M&L Adventures LLC, care of Bislaw, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, vicinity of 10715 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner requesting site plan approval and final plat for a one-lot subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just passed out before you, this was sent in last week, Friday, the final plat. You can see just a clean overview with clean legals on the upper right-hand side. On February 18, I believe it was, we submitted our proposed final site plan. My understanding is as of today's date, I don't know if there's any other engineering changes. I spoke with Ryan this morning, but I believe that everything appears to be in good order, but Mr. Sherry, I'll leave it to your discretion if there's anything else left on that site plan that needed modification. But I believe that we're queued up, Mr. President, and ready for a public hearing in 2 weeks.
Okay, do we have any comments from anybody?
I do have some outstanding comments, but they're pretty minor. Certainly nothing that couldn't be worked out in the next couple of weeks, so I think we're in a good place with this one.
You agree with that, Dave?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Tim, you got anything, or
No, nothing.
commissioners?
No. Mr. President,
Yes,
I have a question for the attorney.
sure.
Nathan, is the public hearing for the final plan? I'm looking at the agenda.
Yeah, so it's for two things. Number one is there was a deferral on the site plan, Mr. Austin, last month.
Okay.
No action was taken.
Okay.
And then we submitted the application for a public hearing for the final plat.
Yeah, there's no public hearing required for a final plat.
Okay, I
It's
just,
for the primary plat,
yep,
that you need that. The site plan doesn't require a public hearing. It requires public meeting action, but
yep.
it doesn't require publication.
That one was deferred to then this month. The site plan was last month.
Okay, again, public hearing is not needed for a site plan,
Okay,
just the preliminary plat, which you have.
which was accomplished, right?
Correct.
Yep,
Correct.
okay.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page here procedurally.
Sure. Good. Any other comments, discussion?
No.
Good. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Stick around. Number two, Donator, 5 site plan review, petitioner Kate Harris, 120 Mountain Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey. Owner, town of Cedar Lake, 7408 Constitution Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, vicinity of 13960 4th Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is seeking a revised site plan approval for a cell phone tower. Do we have somebody online, or here,
I think she's online.
online? Hi.
Jamie Overtimer. Katie asked me to be online. Jamie Overtimer Communications.
Okay, what do we got going there today?
I believe all the changes that were being asked and all the aren't an issue for us. The only one is the location of the transformer and the fiber vault, which are located inside the easement. And the question that we have is why they need to move.
We just wanted them to be into that lease space that you were utilizing. We wanted them to be in that 60 by 100 space, so in the future, parking or using that building that's proposed for the top of the hill, they weren't in the way for pushing snow or anything. They were just out of the way. And that was, the question was, were they in that 60 by 100 space or not? And Katie wasn't sure, that was the answer we were waiting to get back.
Okay, so if you wanted inside that space, if they were to move down to right off of our site, inside the northwestern part of our site corner,
Yep.
right by our H-frame, for us, it makes the run from the actual transformer into our electrical meter bank more, a better use of our space that we have. So what we would do is we take them from where they are located now and move them down to the northwest corner of our easement. So when the road actually turns in next to our fence, that way they would be inside their 60 by 100.
Yep. Yeah, that was all, that was the reasoning why, is just to keep it, you know what I mean, if inside of that lease space, and then it would not be the future is still open for us, and we just didn't want to put anything in the way that could possibly end up being in the way, so, that was the reason.
Okay, well, we can make that move.
Perfect.
So we all squared away on how we're gonna cover the,
Base?
yeah, the two vacant.
They proposed just a light, thin layer of concrete to keep the weeds from growing up until they get carriers, that was the plan.
Right, but have we got paperwork submitted on that, or?
Yes, that was there, yeah,
Yeah, we have it, so we're up to snuff on everything. Okay.
I believe so.
Luke, you don't have anything?
No.
Commissioners?
Do you guys have that updated, are you just gonna move that stuff on that drawing and you're good? Or are you guys gonna be ready in 2 weeks are we gonna have that plan to review here shortly, or what was the plan?
Yeah, I don't think it should be difficult for us to change, and I'll get with Katie and make sure it gets back in within, honestly, we could have it in before the end of this week, I would think.
Okay,
We just gotta make the other changes that you asked for and then move those over, should not be a problem.
okay, perfect.
Okay, well, we get that in a timely fashion, and then we should be good to go in 2 weeks. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Number 3, caller, final plat. Petitioner, Bislaw, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Owner Joshua Caller, care of Bislaw, 12532 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, vicinity of 9117 137th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting final plat for lot amendment for the Winding Creek subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Winding Creek subdivision. We're modifying the 4 lots in the center of that development. There was that outlot with no particular stated recorded purpose. The only change from the preliminary to the final, the Mylars are in with the building department, is just changing the name on it to indicate that it's a final proposed plat. But nothing else has changed from the original submission.
Okay. Luke, have anything?
No, nothing
Nope.
for me.
Tim?
Nope, this is the final step of getting this cleaned up, so.
All right. Commissioners? Nothing? See you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Number 4, Store Safe of Cedar Lake. Owner petitioner, Store Safe of Cedar Lake LLC, 5301 Dempster Street, Suite 300, Skokie, Illinois. Vicinity of 13639 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting driveway connection to Osborne Street to Store Safe of Cedar Lake.
Hello, Board. I'm Warren Gary. I represent the ownership at that property, Store Safe Self-Storage. We currently operate a self-storage facility there. We are also in the process of completing construction on 2 new buildings on that property at the rear and east half of that property. We have a street that dead ends into the rear half of the property, and we'd like to be able to access our site through that Osborne dead end.
I believe all that had to be done was just to open the fence up and put a gate in there and connect them, right?
That's correct, yes.
That's on the south side of the property.
Yes.
Any other comments? Tim, you're good?
Just, what was happening with that detention pond? You scooched it to the east, or
Yeah, so it's split a little bit to the east, and it's The detention, as I sent over to, Luke, the detention for that area actually was incorporated into the Lakeview Business Park, so it's not, not needed anymore there. But we are still providing a little depressional area to collect some water from the site.
Okay, that little spot wasn't needed for the future front building, or, I thought that was why we ended up keeping that, or you guys
Yeah,
ended up
so
keeping
it
No,
was,
that's good.
but the owner said we're going to just proceed with this request at this time, and then if that
Work on
that
that later.
happens, then we'll adjust the site plan and adjust the engineering as needed at that time.
Okay, that was what it was for, though, for the,
Yeah,
for the front,
exactly.
okay, I remember it wasn't needed, and it wasn't needed, I just wanna make, that was why, though, that makes sense, okay. That's all I have.
And I'm Jack from DVG, just for the record.
Okay. Commissioners, you have anything?
I've never seen you before.
Yeah, I know, I just,
Heard a lot about you. Well, if we have no further discussion or comments, then, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
great.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.
And he used to live in Cedar Lake.
Hmm?
You used to live in Cedar Lake.
I did, actually, yeah.
Thank you.
Number 5, municipal complex subdivision plat, Town of Cedar Lake, Police and Fire Department, vicinity of 7228 Constitution Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for a 2-lot subdivision, Town of Cedar Lake, Indiana.
I guess we are the petitioner, this is just to clean up the fire and police station properties into their own lots of record, so. The plat, if you see it, it includes those 2 lots, that's what it reflects, and, that's it. Basically, those 2 pieces of property turned into lot 1 and lot 2. Luke, you have anything?
No, just that, we had presented a draft of this plat, that was developed years ago. If you recall, it had an additional lot for a future town hall. We got rid of that. We updated the plat to reflect the, correct addresses for police and fire. Made a couple other small tweaks, but yeah, other than that, that's in a nutshell what we're doing.
Mr. President,
Yes.
this has been published, it's ready for a public hearing in 2 weeks. I had a question for Luke, though.
Okay.
Did we request, and on the application, is there a reference to waivers of all subdivision requirements based upon the completion of the fire and police stations?
I'm not aware of any waivers that we'll need on this.
You don't need any, but it's built. And all I'm asking is whether you've asked for waivers from everything that has already been built. It's kind of an after the fact.
I mean, Luke and I both discussed this, and there is sidewalks, there is stormwater drain, I mean,
Exactly.
we have not waived from any standards, everything is there according to, so we don't need any waivers.
Okay, so if everything's in compliance with the
Everything is in
subdivision order.
compliance, yes. We went over everything, and, everything is in compliance, so we do not need, there would have been no waivers needed 3 years or 5 years, whatever the time was, so we're good, it's all good.
Well, it was meets and bounds when it was constructed, I mean, that's the reason I asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we did go through the list and everything, we have the public walks, we have everything is there, right, everything was done that was needed to be done.
That ought to
Except
be part
for-
of the, public hearing, 2 weeks, make that representation and the presentation.
The plat that's on the iPad, Lucas, still has the 3rd lot on it, so I think this was
There's 2 plats on there. There's one attached to my letter, that's the old one, and then underneath that, I think is the latest and greatest that made all those corrections.
It's on 4A.
Dated
On the tablet.
Oh, okay,
2/26.
I'm sorry, I just was, okay, all right. I was blaming Cheryl for putting the wrong one. I'm sorry, Cheryl.
Take care of that tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay, we good?
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, anything?
No.
Okay, I guess we're good to go in 2 weeks. Under new business, number 1, Leo's Gardens, site plan. Petitioner Sierra Govert and Justin Govert, 13406 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Owner Steve Govert, 407 Martin Drive, Crown Point, Indiana, vicinity 13406 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner seeking to put in a 48x48 greenhouse.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Rob Hen, 13455 Parish Avenue. I'm here with Steve Govert, the owner of Leo's. We're looking to put up a 48x48 greenhouse on the rear portion of the property. I'm sure you got the little sketch there that was turned in. We're thinking this might be, we're looking for your direction, but we're thinking this might be a good candidate, being that it's an existing older business in town. It might be a good candidate for a site plan waiver, only because it's a greenhouse. It's not a truly permanent structure. And even though this is an older existing site, this is a well-maintained site. And the business doesn't change at all, fundamentally change in any way, so we don't see any additional parking being required or anything like that. So it might be a good candidate for a site plan waiver if you agree.
Where's that greenhouse going? Up front?
In the rear.
On the west side of the garage, that's, right, yeah, the garage, that's, right there, yeah.
West side of the parking lot, right?
West side of a garage, the parking lot's on the east side.
Okay.
This is in the rear of the property where those two trucks are parked, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 10 foot off the existing building and 10 feet off the north property line.
If you look right after the application on your iPad, scroll to the next, it shows.
That's the parking lot, I see the greenhouse there.
This is the existing greenhouse area right here.
Okay, so it's not this one, it's that one.
This one's here now. It's a
Okay.
little smaller than this one.
Okay.
So this is gonna have piers and it's gonna be connected to the piers, it's not gonna have a full foundation or concrete floor or anything?
No.
I would call it not a permanent structure then.
There you go. What is the floor? Is it gravel?
Gravel, yes. There'll be a sidewalk in it, but no,
Yeah, so it's,
like the one now, if you guys have been in the one now, it's got gravel, but then there's a couple sidewalks that run through it. What we're really trying to do is improve the customer experience. We'd like to get things off of racks and not look so like a mass merchant. Just step it up a little more. We don't, business is relatively the same every year. Of course, we would always like a little more business, but the improving of the customer experience is my goal.
yes, we don't see any increase in, parking lot needs or any drainage issues.
And it may help the parking lot.
It may help the parking lot because they get a lot of plants and overflow in the parking lot, which wouldn't be the case now.
Yeah. We don't like that look like the mass merchant though. Plants are all over just in the parking lots, and we want to get away from that for the future.
Unusual request, you don't call it a permanent structure, you do call it a permanent structure.
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, I agree. I mean, it's stuff that they're stacking trees out there, or they're putting this thing to a greenhouse. I mean, it's pretty much an outdoor venue, it's an outdoor, place to buy plants, just kinda like the front one, but I don't see anything changing there. That area is gravel there, and
We're not gonna heat it either.
it's pretty much using the same space as they're using, but it's just putting this thing up to keep you from raining on you, but I don't see any I don't see any concerns with it. I guess it's gonna be full of plants regardless, so. And like they did say when they came in, it's gonna help them putting all those racks of stuff out in the parking lot in the spring, it's gonna gain them some parking because they don't have anywhere else to put that stuff when they get it in now, so now they'll go in here instead of.
So you're moving everything from out front?
Yeah, we're trying to have just a better overall traffic flow. Again, like a lot of times people come in the spring and they're like, oh, it's so crazy here, just try to make the flow better. It utilizes space that's not really being used. It's all gravel back there, and
Right.
there's a little drive approach on the back of that garage. So, We don't believe it'll cause any issues with the water. We're controlling the water there.
Luke, got any comments? Have you looked at anything on this, or?
I just looked at it just now, I don't see any red flags of any kind, it seems pretty easy.
Commissioners, anything?
Looks good to me.
So we're good to go then, or do we need some more submittals, or what?
I think it'll look better with it in the back. Right now, they'll probably have those trees ready to plant. They'll better remove that from the front of the building there, yeah.
It really will make the front greenhouse and the three will look correct, you know, and we'll be able to move people through the yard instead of keeping them so forward. It'll draw us to the back more.
Dave, you have anything?
Yeah, this is, work study session, so an action on the request made should be in the public meeting by some public meeting vote.
I agree with that, you need to come back for a public meeting, obviously. But, it fits in with the use, the current use of the building, and it is certainly a temporary structure. I got no issues.
Okay, so we'd be back in 2 weeks for a vote on the waiver, correct? Yes. Perfect.
Did you say needed a public hearing?
No, a public meeting approval.
Okay, okay.
You have to vote.
Yeah, but my question was, do you need to submit anything else before we have the meeting?
I don't know what you submitted in the first place, so I can't answer that.
For a site plan waiver,
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm
you're just requesting a site plan waiver, which means you're not really submitting anything, you're gonna do it through the, obviously, there's gonna be a permit pulled for this thing, right?
There'll be drawings, I think, submitted to the building department.
Yeah, we have the location on the survey, and I think we have everything we need. That was just the question, which we kind of were along the same lines as this request, so.
Just clarifying, everybody's clarified, right?
Yes, sir. See you in 2 weeks.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Number 2, Fernandez and Buys Concept Plan, Order Petition, Ogleford, Mancini and Marino D. Fernandez, 3150 North Lakeshore Drive, number 27F, Chicago, Illinois, vicinity of 130, 132 Moore Street, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Okay, owner, and there's another part, owner. You're gonna have to excuse me on this. Kruzotov, and then Malagorzata, Polinkowaska, Blias?
It's close, yeah.
Close.
You wanna pronounce that for him so we got a clean record?
Yeah, pronounce that.
Ponasen, Panikolska Bikes.
Did that help?
Okay, I'm not
Not really.
gonna repeat it, but.
I'm gonna say
It's written on there.
Yeah.
that almost looks like a practical joke trying to have somebody read it. Wow.
I'm not trying to make fun, it's
That's a tough one.
That's right.
13932 Caston Drive, Roland Park, Illinois, 60462, vicinity of 7009 West 129th Place, Cedar Lake, Indiana. The first one was 1.89 acres, this one is 5 acres. Town Council building, the moratorium was waived on February 17, 2026. Request petitioner Fernandez is seeking to build a 3,500 square foot footprint wood frame residence with partial unfinished basement, crawl space, and attached garage. Proposed lot 1.89 acres of a proposed 2-lot subdivision to be called Ravine Estates. Petitioner Baez is seeking to build a 1,900 square foot footprint wood frame residence with partial unfinished basement, crawl space, and attached garage, and proposed lot 2, 5 acres of proposed 2-lot subdivision to be called Ravine Estates. State your names and addresses, and if you haven't done that already.
Yeah, well, my name is Marino D. Fernandez.
Okay.
Be the first one.
Yeah, okay.
Chris on Bikes.
All right, now, tell us briefly what you want to do here.
Basically, we're looking for building 2 single home in the new subdivision that we're planning to call Ravine Estates. And that will be at the end of what is right now Morse Street up in the hill. We already have an agreement to have an easement, access easement, so we both can go through our property since the street doesn't go all the way. So the concept plan was submitted that it shows the layout of where the house is going to stay within the property. And basically what we're looking for, seeking for the permission to move forward with the construction.
It got waivers because it doesn't need water, by the way, just for a little backstory.
Because...
It doesn't need municipal
okay.
water.
That's up the hill, that...
Behind the Boys and Girls Club, behind the
Yeah.
school.
Okay, and the road ends there, so they've got easements from where to get to that property?
It's gonna be a private drive from where the road ends on into the property.
Into the property, but don't both houses have to be on a,
Street frontage,
right?
We have an easement from the property south of our location, access easement and utility easement. And Chris has an easement from my property so he can access his property.
that wouldn't have frontage no matter what, would it?
Correct, they're gonna need a waiver from the ordinance for road frontage, and able to have a private drive.
Well, and that I understood, but where the road stops, it doesn't go in front of this property, it kinda stops at this property,
It stops
correct?
prior to their property, so they have an easement, access utility easement to get through that property to their property.
And I was up there the other day and I'm in that vicinity pretty often.
Yeah.
Your brother used to live up there.
Yeah, my brother had a place up there. And I take care of the Boys and Girls Club next door, so we're gonna be neighbors.
That's fine.
I'm okay with a private drive there, 'cause that's one of those situations where that never had street frontage, it's never gonna.
Right, it's just the end of the road.
It's just one of those things that is,
No, it's good, I mean,
it's
there's a lot.
unusual parcel
Right,
vicinity.
right, I know exactly where it is. My
And
granddaughter-
it used to have houses,
Yeah.
it used to have houses up there, and it was a private drive.
Yeah, it used to be.
Yes.
Now, that road dead ends there, is it still a road going further on if they were to develop it, or
No, it'd be a private drive from the street.
for them?
Right.
But right now, would they have to vacate something?
No.
No.
They
The
don't
road
have-
just dead ends
All they're
right
gonna
there.
have to get a waiver because their lots are not gonna front on a public improved roadway.
It wouldn't anyway, though.
Correct. I mean, there's no way for it to, because they're not putting in a public road, it's just it's 2-lot subdivision, so. They still need the waiver though, because that would be what the lot sizes are fine, the waiver, they need the waiver for, obviously you're gonna need a waiver for sidewalks and a waiver for, I mean, I don't know that they need a waiver for sidewalks, there's no public road, so I would say no.
Does the sewer line run back that far?
What was that?
Does the sewer line run
up
back?
there?
The sewer is at the end of the road, so they have to do a sewer, they have to do a
Sewer
sewer
extension.
extension through their private utility for both houses.
And you guys understand all that, right?
Yes.
That's part of the plan.
So they need a waiver for the sidewalk and a waiver for
Well, I don't guess they need a sidewalk waiver because there's no public road to put a sidewalk along, so.
does it still need a waiver?
Should.
I mean, we probably ought to cover it. Just because.
I agree.
I guess, I mean, saying it out loud, there's zero public.
I get it, it's embarrassing
There's nowhere to
almost.
put one, so I don't know. I guess, yeah, let's say yes then.
Are there two separate easements? Is it an ingress egress easement and then a utility easement? Or is it one and the same?
Combined.
It's combined?
Yeah.
I remember looking at this months ago. I thought it said in your ingress egress easement that it can't be used for other purposes.
It did on the first one, but they got it fixed.
Okay, oh, so that got reworked. Okay, that was my question more than anything.
Yeah, it was like that, and they got that corrected over the past couple months, once we came in and seen it, so.
Okay.
So this is their concept plan, they're just wanting to see if you guys are on board with this idea so they can move forward with a preliminary plat for this two-lot subdivision.
Yes.
That's kind of what this,
Yeah, I don't see
this
any
meeting
problems.
is for, and then we'll work out the waivers needed once Luke gets something to look at and we get the plat. I think they're pretty much gonna be ready to give us a preliminary plat shortly.
Someone's been trying to do something up there for a long time.
Yes, yes, and these guys are finally tackled it, cause
Yeah.
it took them a lot of work to get the ingress, egress, utility easement, and now they've working together, which makes it nice for one project to get them both taken
It's
care
gonna
of.
make it nice to have somebody living there, because right now it becomes a nuisance at times.
Yeah, no, they got got the right two guys finally to get something done here, and, they are making progress, so it's good to see. Cause there's been several people over the past 10 years come in to try to do something with it, and nobody was up to the task, but, these guys are doing what they need to do, so.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Any other comments or discussion?
No.
Okay, well, we're good with it, so do what you guys gotta do to get in front of us for approval.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, McCulloch, concept plan, owner petitioner Douglas McCulloch.
Machok.
There's no L in there, Machok. How you doing?
Good.
I'm just trying to help.
That's all right. I've been interrupted before.
My name and address, or?
Just a minute, 7105 West 133rd Place, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Vicinity of 7105 West 133rd Place, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is seeking to construct a 30 width by 60 length by 14 high pole barn to be used with current use variance. Now you can give me your name and address.
Doug Machok, 7105 West 133rd Place, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Thank you. Now, tell us briefly what you want to do here.
I want to construct a pole barn building. I submitted the picture of what I'm thinking about doing, to be, in use with my current use variance.
Is that going on that
It'll be on the side, on the lot.
lot that runs east and west?
Yes. This lot is actually located right behind the Holiday Liquors.
Right.
Yeah. I purchased this lot about a year or so ago. There was, prior to it, there was abandoned houses on there that were pulling down. Lot's been sitting vacant, so I ended up purchasing it, and I'd like to kind of improve it more, build a nice building.
Is this part of, you own the house sitting up
He owns
there,
the house
right?
that's
Yeah.
shaded in on here.
Yes. Now, is this all one,
It's all one, it's a big like L,
so it's all one parcel?
yes,
It's all one lot? Okay.
one lot.
Okay. They got plenty of acreage for it. I think where am I at?
There won't be any outside storage there, brother.
No, it's gonna be in same rules as what my use variance is, so. Don't plan on storing anything. I'm planning on leaving the front grass. I'm not gonna have any access from Morse Street off of this piece of property. The access will be on 133rd. Kinda just looking for some guidance too from you guys, 'cause I wanna do this right and make it look great for, with the area. I'm looking to have one, a bigger door. I understand probably can't put one facing Moore Street, one, because there's a well right there, and two, it'd be too tight.
It's your well too, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you using that?
I was gonna use it with the building.
Okay.
And that's where I was thinking too, like, if that well, it would be easier with the well, the sewer, whatever, all right there, and leave that grass up in front. And then, put my doors somewhere facing on the east side of the building towards the residence, and one on, 133rd Place, so there'll be an access there. I understand I'm gonna need a couple variances for this building.
Morris.
And I'm willing to work and I'm not in a huge rush. I just wanna make sure I do it right and do it once, do it right, and everyone likes it.
What are you gonna store in there or put in there?
Well, it's for my it's gonna be for my business and I can put my camper in there.
He runs a business there now, he's got a use variance.
And
What is your business?
Bugga's detailing.
Details? Yeah, I remember you from when you first,
Yeah, when I came in for the
Yeah.
variance, yeah. Basically, where I'm looking at is I'm having, every time I have to do work now, I'm constantly pulling my cars out, and I just,
sure, understood.
yeah, I need something a little bit bigger, especially if I'm gonna do a boat or whatever, that way. And then work on my camper.
Well, he doesn't need the square footage is okay and the height's okay, right? 14-foot height, it's not wall height.
Is that overall height or wall height?
That's gonna be wall height.
14 foot, so you need a variance on that, right?
Yeah, he would need a few variances, setbacks for front yard because he's on that corner lot, so he would need some setback variances. It would also become the third accessory structure that he has because he has a shed and a detached garage. If you look at his whole entire piece of property, he has a shed, a detached garage, and now this building, so that would be his third accessory structure. And then I think that it's gonna get in, we talked about it when you were here, you're gonna, total accessory, square footage is gonna be over what's allowed, because you're, obviously this building is,
30 by 60.
it's 1,500 or 1,800.
1,800.
I was
The coverage is gonna be
do-
over?
Do some math on that, see how much over he is. Do you know how much over?
He was over quite a lot. I think he's allowed, I think with his whole property, he may have been allowed 1,200. Or you might have been, with that lot added on, he might have been up to 1,600, I'm not positive on which one. I know we did, do you remember?
I think it's up to 60.
I think he might be allowed 1,600 and he has 1,800, plus he has the 24 by 30 and the shed, so he's over quite a bit. And, I mean, he's trying to kind of do a similar thing, you know, just to keep all this on this property. It's all zone B1, I believe, the property is, but he's turned this all into one, you know, it's all one parcel, the house, the building, the
The
garage.
entirety is zone B1 though?
Yeah, the whole area is zone B1, but it's being used R1.
And you
That's
got a use variance for a B2 use or a B3 use in a B1 district? What'd you get?
You got a use for the details shop conditional on two
Yeah.
cars and,
2 cars outside and no signage. And I'm not running a car wash, and it's just by appointment only.
I'm just trying to understand what your use variance,
Oh,
you had a use variance for the business now?
yes.
Was that according to zoning or just a variance for,
it's just a use variance for his property
Okay.
to do this detail business. And to have, you know, it was limited to 2 cars outside at a time and
because it's zone B1 does that make for an allowance for more of an outbuilding or no?
no. No, he's using, it's an R2 use like you said, but at the end of the day, there's nothing, you know, the only accessory structure in the ordinance is based on the size of your property, and the size of his property would allow him to have
1,600 additional
I'm
or
pretty
total?
sure 1,600 total. I'm fairly certain. So, yeah, he's gonna have probably 2,500, 2,800 by the time he's done, so he'll be over quite a lot. But his garage is, I mean, if his garage was attached to his house, his current garage, that wouldn't count as accessory structure, so he gets anybody who has a detached garage gets penalty because you don't have.
Kind of a ding.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, if that garage was attached to his house, that would not count as accessory structure in our rules, so it's kinda crazy, but it is what it is. Good to know.
Attach your garage.
Attach your garage.
It'd be costly.
But it's on a floating slab, so it can't be done, unfortunately. Grease. An accordion breezeway, maybe? Yeah, so it poses a couple challenges, that's why he's here to talk about it with you guys, and we've talked to him about this, and, suggested he
So, this
come here
is-
to get your guys' feedback.
We're in concept currently.
Yep.
You know you gotta get variances.
Yes,
You know we don't do the variances here.
yes.
You gotta have 1,800 square feet? Are you talking metal side, metal roof on this building?
Yes,
The roof really
with
doesn't
brick,
matter.
I'm gonna do brick on the front towards Morse.
Brick on the front, but metal
Yeah.
sides?
Yeah, kinda like, or half up, or, I wanna make it look nice and go with the theme of that area with the condos, I don't want it to look, just look like a metal shed.
Well, then you gotta paint it pink or something.
All pink.
Go with the
Oh,
condos.
jeez.
This is bricked.
What do you keep in that other shed you have on there now?
That's just my lawn equipment, my tractor, my patio furniture.
How big is that? Shed?
I wanna say it's like 8 by 14.
Right.
It's a Yoder shed.
Yeah. Not very big, okay.
Yeah, so I had the space freed up in my garage, so.
It's like Greg asked, do you need to have 1,800 square feet, or can it be downsized a little bit, or?
I could probably downsize a little bit, maybe, 8 feet maybe, I could take off. I could do 52. I wanna try and keep it in the standard sizing of buildings. Tends to be a little more budget friendly than a custom.
Sure, I understood, but we're just looking at what the amount over is, what we would have to consider giving you a variance on.
Yeah.
Or the BZA would have to give you a variance on it. But,
So there's no provision for a B lot to have an outbuilding, a pole barn style building?
A standalone building, you mean, just on the,
Yes.
I mean, B1 is not for detailing, and we kinda talked about trying, if you did a separate building on this lot, then he's to the site plan and, stormwater and engineering and,
That's not enough lot for that.
and it's not, yeah, it's a small piece of property, so that's why, essentially, we met with him, we suggested you come here to get some feedback, cause there's a lot to think about here, it's a lot going on.
And I took on this property and because it was Tim will know, there were abandoned houses and one of them caught fire, they were doing drugs, everything in them.
Yeah, it definitely looked like hell.
It looked horrible.
We condemned one of them and demolished it.
And then it just sat, and then a firm owned it, and they didn't care about it. Myself and my neighbor, right there, we've been cutting it for better of 15 years. And, my roots are here in Cedar Lake. I grew up on the east side of Cedar Lake. My business has been here, and, I just wanted to expand it. Make the neighborhood look a little better, and.
well, I don't have any problems with it, we just need to fine tune what, the waivers or variances are gonna be needed.
Yeah, he'll have several variances, which we kinda talked about here.
A quick question to the commissioners, what's the amount of overage would we feel comfortable, or do you guys feel comfortable with? Right now, if it's at 1,600 square feet, and he's gonna have about 25, you said?
Well, if we did 52, he's
Is it 24 by
1560.
30 now?
It's 72, or it's 720 square feet is the garage.
Yeah, that's a 24 by 30, that's 720 square feet.
How big's the shed?
8 by 14.
It's 168.
Got a calculator.
14. Huh?
Got a calculator.
112 only?
8 by,
Oh, I'm just thinking 12 by 14, that's why. Alright.
is it 8 by 14?
I'm doing some math, bear with me. He's like at 2650.
So it'd be about 1,000 square feet over. Right?
Yes. 2632 is what I came up with, but Yeah, so that's, I mean, that's a question, or that's, if his, like I said, if his garage was attached to the house, he would be in a lot better shape for the 1,000, I guess, but you'd only be over a little bit, but. It's a unique situation, if you look at the lot, you know, that it's kind of, a lot to think about.
It's gonna be a big improvement for the property, and it's gonna give us more tax dollars.
What is the condition of the garage you got down there now?
It's perfect.
Your garage now, is it?
It's new.
It's just so I can park my cars in.
Oh, yeah, it's new, then, okay.
I mean, all the setbacks looks same as the house.
Understand what you wanna do, understand why you wanna do it. Here's my issue. We give you a pole barn, we're gonna have people lined up in here for pole barns. That's gonna be a problem. So, getting a variance for the building, we've given variances in the past that I can remember for buildings that weren't constructed as pole barns. So,
What do you guys wanna see? I mean, I'm open for it, you know, I'm just, whatever. If we have to build it stick-built, you know, I get that too, you know.
that gives us more ability to enforce, am I wrong, Tim? For enforcement later down the road if it was stick-built?
Well, I mean, I guess the pole barn thing poses a question, I get what you're saying, but, other than, you know, open up a can of worms for pole barns every year, right?
No.
I mean,
Okay, now there is a pole barn in my neighborhood, and then there's ones along down Moore Street already.
Yeah, those are all more than an acre though. If you have more than an acre, you can build a pole barn, or acre or more.
Well, some of those are on a little bit smaller lots that are less than an acre. If you go down
The two newest ones,
unless those are grandfathered in.
the other ones were grandfathered in,
Okay.
they're old.
Okay.
The two newest ones, and I know because I was involved in some of that, it was an acre or more. The property was an acre or
Well,
more.
how much is this property?
I'm right over 3/4, I believe.
Oh, 3/4 of an acre? I thought it was over an acre. Sorry.
Yeah, not quite. I know stick
Well,
building.
he would definitely have to go with stick, you know.
Well, wasn't he talking about putting brick or something like that in the front side of it?
Yeah, but it's still a pole barn.
It's entirely different construction.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are good with block too, right? Stick, block, just not pole barn, depending on what's a little more economical.
I think block construction is fine too, isn't it, Tim?
And then I would be having, obviously, water, I'd be hooking up to the sewer, having a separate sewer tap
Yeah,
or whatever, separate sewer.
There's guidelines you have to meet for that, but I would say that that's allowable, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're doing, you do a good job with that stuff, everybody comes from all over around to buy your supplies and stuff and to get work done by you, and that's phenomenal. But we have the long-term protection of the community that has to be looked out for too. And I know if Jerry Wilking was here, he would ask, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask because he's gonna be here the next meeting. You putting a lift in this building?
No, I don't really have any plans, really, at this time.
Okay, I had to ask.
I just need the height for my camper, to pull the camper in.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'd be okay if it was stick-built, I think. Providing it gets through the BZA and all that other stuff you gotta do, and it's a lot.
And I understand, I mean, I purchased this lot,
It wouldn't be 60, it'd be 52, 30 by 52,
Yep.
stick-built.
Yeah.
With a footing.
Oh, yeah, no monolithic,
Okay.
never again.
Okay.
Put me in the...
Is that fair?
No, yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted him to come here, because it's a unique situation, there's a lot to think about. That's the reason he's here.
And it's technically a B lot.
The lot is, unless you've got the lot next door to it, there's not a whole lot you're gonna do with that piece of property. I don't know, the shape of that.
No one could have built on it or anything.
So Greg, you're saying 30 by 52, but will the height still be 14?
The wall height.
What's the most we've done for wall height before, Tim?
There's buildings with 12 and 14 foot wall heights.
Yeah, we've
Is
done
there?
14.
So
Is there
that's
any
happened
way that
before?
you can
Sure,
make
yeah.
this so it's not 14 foot? Like, I mean, you had a 12-foot door and then an 8-foot door?
I can go, well, I'm only one door, the high door would be on the side facing my driveway.
You wouldn't even see it from either street then?
No, the like 8 or 10 foot door, if you see, cause I'm probably gonna follow that same type of design, but.
You putting windows in this building too?
Probably not, maybe high windows, but the less people see in, usually the better.
If you just had 14-foot sidewalls for the camper and the rest of the building had 10-foot sidewalls, it would lend itself to future, a lot less in the future, I guess, instead of making the whole thing 14 foot tall.
So you're not gonna have these windows in it then?
Probably not, I probably won't do it.
And what would, the height, the peak of the roof be then?
14, probably, what?
412, 16 feet?
16, and I think what.
412?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be more than that, it'd be 18,
Yeah.
if it was 14-foot walls, right?
Oh, you gotta go by the width of the.
5.
Width of
The peak would be,
Be 20 feet.
the peak would be 20 feet?
Yep.
Well, 20 foot's fine. I mean,
The other challenge will be this, and right now, I mean, it's low, it's at the bottom of the hill. We're gonna have to truck in dirt to make it with a big door, to go to the driveway, to make it to where it's negotiable. So there's gonna be a lot of dirt involved. So that's gonna be, something to look at, and that could also kinda, with the design.
Tim, you see any vision triangle issues or anything like that?
well, I don't see anything with like the 14-foot walls and what have you. The thing I see might be a stumbling block is the coverage, and you have to go up to the BZA with that.
Right.
And
That's why I told him.
that could be, the BZA could be, we're both on the BZA, but you got 3 other guys and
Providing
they could
what
get kinda
happens,
tight.
providing what happens with the variances, I mean, that's gonna be your challenge on this project.
Yeah, the BZA is gonna be your challenge.
But from a town planning perspective, it being stick-built with footing, it's a good structure. It could have a metal roof still, if you wanted to do a metal roof, even if it was a stick-built structure, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, you can do a metal roof on it, why not?
I'd work,
I'll tie it, with it being stick-built, I just wanna make sure to tie it in with what the look of the area is, I don't want it to look kinda chintzy either.
well, if you're looking for parameters, I think you got them.
Good. Height-wise, I kinda wanna stay kinda in the height with Holiday Liquors and the neighbor's house and that's kinda where I wanna look at too, and see what looks in, so. I don't know if that's gonna play a factor or.
Well, you got some ideas, what we're looking for. Your stumbling block, if there is any, is gonna be getting it through the BZA.
Okay.
So, that'll give you some ideas on what you can do to put it together. Apparently you've been talking to Tim a lot, and he's a good guy to guide you along through this, so.
So the next step would be, do I come back to Plan Commission, or do I go to BZA next?
These are developmental variances primarily, that go to the BZA.
Okay.
Do you have a drawing of the building you wanna put up, or a
Bob's
picture?
got a picture of it over here.
It's on the thing too.
Yeah,
on your laptop.
Well, yeah. I would, if you go to BZA, I would provide a picture of what you wanna do, you
Yeah.
know, and, are we looking for setbacks net variances too, or that comes to the?
No, he's gonna need setbacks and everything, so.
To the BZA or to the?
Correct, no, to the BCA.
Yeah, and the setback for what, 130?
I just kinda wanted him to get your guys' feel on this, so he got some feedback, obviously, from you guys, see what you guys thought, and it was a lot I didn't just wanna send him to the BZA without everybody knowing what's, I mean, I kinda wanted to get the concept out there, see what everybody thought.
Tim, would a replat of the parcels that the house and the outbuilding are located be a simpler process? Make a one-lot subdivision, encompass within that the improvements that we're talking about here?
And that's, I guess it would. Obviously, they're all already lots of record, but it's a unique situation, using part of it for business and part of it for residential and,
Well, what he has now is a one-lot subdivision, right?
well, what he has now is,
Well, he bought it-
They're just all combined
He bought a second lot.
for tax
Yeah, and then
purposes.
I combine them all into one.
Oh, are they combined for zoning purposes, or are they combined for tax purposes?
I believe for zoning too.
he has 9 lots of record, so they're lots, but,
Yeah, it's gonna be platted.
Yeah, but if
He bought
it's
the
a
lots the way they were, legally described.
If it's a separate lot, he can't build on it then unless there's a residence, right?
Well, that's another problem, that's right.
That's why I'm asking if
Each
it's a
of those
one-lot
9 lots
subdivision,
stand
because.
alone for permitting purposes, absent approvals. That's why-
right, that's why I said it's a unique situation. If he just tried building on 50 and 49, now it's a whole, it's a whole different animal.
It shrinks it down to nothing.
Shrinks his property down to small, and then he's trying to build a building on a smaller piece of property.
Combine them all into one lot.
Then it's a commercial then it's a commercial building and a site plan and
It's not it's
Well, that's one of the problems is, without a residence, you can't build just a building on it,
right.
so.
So you replat it, you have a primary building, you have an accessory building, and you have it simplified.
So just change it to like a one lot subdivision.
Well, it's just.
One big
suggestion
lot.
On my part, we're talking.
Well, you're gonna need that in order to put the building up. Then, once you have that, or you need to, probably before you do that, go to the BZA and see if they're willing to give you waivers on everything you're looking for. But eventually, you should make it into a one-lot subdivision, I would think.
Variances, John.
Oh,
Now you're confused, right?
Well, I'll figure it out.
Well,
Yeah, essentially wanted to get the concept and see what you guys thought about the overall plan, I guess, so.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good spot for it. You're behind the liquor store and the gas station, and there's not a lot of residents going south to that, is there?
And they would have
A dozen
sat,
maybe.
and it would just sat vacant. There was just,
Yeah.
no one was cutting the grass or anything, so.
No, I think it's a good idea, but those are some of your hurdles you gotta get over, so.
Okay, so BZA then next?
Yeah,
I
first you're
guess
gonna have to
it's-
get a good plan of what you wanna do, like a site plan and a plan of where the building's gonna be, and, we gotta have a clear path to know exactly the setbacks and all of that, so.
Okay.
Elevation, site plan, how much, where that floor is gonna be set to the house, because if you gotta make that fit into your upper driveway in your deal, so that's gotta be figured out, we wanna make sure where it's gonna sit on the property and make sure that it's not gonna affect anybody else, you know, as far as.
So you're not flooding people.
Yeah, we gotta see that.
I'm at
There's
the
some, I
bottom,
mean,
so.
yeah, you're gonna have to take the next step and get a little bit more detailed plan, and then we can kinda go from there.
But somebody's saying he needs to do a one lot subdivision?
No, it's just a talking piece, Bob.
Okay,
Suggestion.
I heard that mentioned, and I just wanted to know if that's the direction.
And Luke will have to look at, the site plan once he gets to where, how he's gonna put the dirt in and all that, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right,
All right, thank you, guys.
yeah, thank you. Okay, letters of credit, 141st Partners Performance Letter of Credit in the amount of $473,445.50 to expire on April 22nd, 2026. Who knows something on that?
I think I'll have to check into this one. This one already got renewed once, and we don't have any inspections on the books, I don't think, for this one. So I don't know if this is gonna be another renewal or a reduction, or we don't know what kind of shape it's in, we'll have to.
What is, I'm not familiar, what is this property? What is
This
it?
is the storage facility by Rose Garden over there.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah,
It's been very sporadic in what's been going
Yeah.
on over there. I don't know what's going on, but, they should be able to, I mean, they should be able to reduce it at least a little bit if necessary. They had a lot of water line in there, a lot of water main and, road frontage, but they've been kind of non-existent, so we'll have to try to reach out to them.
well, I got a lot of work to do here yet too.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do, so.
Well, somebody needs to,
We'll contact them and let them know that it's expiring, and they need to renew it or figure out what they're gonna do, get a game plan.
yeah, because what day is the April meeting? I mean, yeah, April.
Well, we got another one in March yet, we can
Yeah, I
set a
know,
full
what,
date.
yeah.
We'll try to figure out before the next meeting what's going on, so.
Yeah, 'cause if we gotta set a pool date, then
We need to do it then.
in March, yeah,
April?
yeah.
April 15th is the public meeting, so.
Well, that's the week before, but let's see what we can get answers for the next meeting and,
Yeah.
You still need a 7-day window for a pool date?
Yeah, 7 days is fine.
We got time.
There's.
we got time, but, you know,
Still
still
need
if
to
we
know,
set
right?
one, it's set.
Let them know it's coming up and get it moving.
Okay, thanks. Number 2, Rose Garden Estates, Phase 1-3, Performance Letter of Credit Reduction in the amount of $434,790.88.
Yeah, this one is actually 3 separate letters of credit, because they took out one for each phase. And we did all the inspections, a month and a half ago. They probably have $300,000 worth of improvements left. And, but they can only reduce their letters of credit to a maximum of 25%. So I can rattle off the exact numbers of each, but the bottom line is that they can only reduce those 3 letters of credit in total to about $2.4 million. And they have about $300,000 of improvements left. So there'd be 3 separate reductions, and the surety would be far greater than, you know, what's left out there. Is kind of the short version.
And the total reduction will be that $434,000.
No, that would just be one of them. That's just for phase 3. They have another one for phase 2, which is $566,000, and the one for phase 1 would be $1.38 million.
Which you said that's 2.4 million?
If you sum total all 3 of those phases, yeah. And honestly, they should be done with these improvements and as soon as the weather allows. So this performance reduction should be pretty short-lived before they're ready to roll it over. But they want it, so,
Sounds like they're making some progress over there.
yeah, there's, like I said, there's not much left. What is left, they'll knock out once the weather cooperates, so, we're almost there.
You got anything to do with that?
No, I mean, yeah, they've been making good progress, but I guess at the end of the day, I think they only had until June, or that was the summer winds, but didn't they also have a deadline that they were supposed to be done by? I think Tom is online.
6 months, I think. Well, I think they renewed it for a year.
Tom's online. He's talking.
Oh, Tom is?
Tom Sherry.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Hello, Commissioners. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Luke had a great summary. The work that is out there, I don't believe that it is actually $300,000 worth of work that still needs to be completed, but if you look at the value per EOPCs, that's how we come up with the $300,000. But I think that we've made fantastic progress out there. We kind of got caught by an early winter this year, so some of the items we agreed to be able to take a look at in the spring once the snow melts and frost is onto the ground, and we could actually take an accurate assessment of how it sits. So, yeah, I think my numbers can concur with Luke's. Currently, right now, I believe we have about $9.9 million in surety posted with the town of Cedar Lake, reducing it down to the 25% amount, which would be the max reduction we could do, would leave still $2.4 million with the town for the remaining work. The plan is that once we agree, CBEL, once we feel that the weather has broke and we can go take an accurate assessment of it, once everybody signs off on it, we'd like to go on to maintenance.
Okay, sounds good to me. Any other questions for Tom?
I don't.
Nope. Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
I think Jerry Wilkening has joined us too, I don't know.
Thank
if
He's gonna,
Yeah, the whole time?
yeah.
I didn't know that. He hasn't said anything.
No, I didn't know it either.
It's gotta be first.
Huh?
Of course, I never look at that thing. Oak Brook subdivision, Phase 2, Performance Center credit reduction in the amount of $548,631.81.
Yeah, kind of the same story. This Oak Brook subdivision, Phase 2, we did some follow-up inspections. They have roughly $461,000 in remaining improvements that we have not fully signed off on yet. But the max reduction for the performance letter credit would be $548. Since that's the more restrictive number, that would be the one that they can reduce to the max. So that's what we were recommending.
So actually what they're doing here is they're requesting us to reduce this in 2 weeks.
Correct. Yeah, it was originally the surety was roughly $2.1 million, and that would go down to the $548,000.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, update item number 1, Friary Farms Plan Unit Development Review. Last night at the town council meeting, the town council decided that we should take another look at it and see if there's anything in there that's new to us, since we sent the approval recommended approval to the town council, and the town council has done some work on it, and they want us to relook at it to see if we're in agreement and make sure that we know everything that is going on with this. Is Nathan here, or do you want to come up, Nathan?
Hi.
Yeah.
So, I resubmitted this morning a copy of the red line changes that were made. I received from Mr. Austin's office about 2 weeks ago, both questions or comments raised on the right-hand side, as well as some blue line changes. I can take you through those. They're very de minimis. The other item that I waited until I had received those changes was just inserting the dates of when we had meetings, as well as the labels of all of the exhibits. And beyond that, there's really about maybe 4 changes that I can take us through here if you'd like me to. Sure. So number 1 is we had submitted back in June a proposed ordinance. It's a standard ordinance. The one change that was made by Mr. Austin was a reference on page 1 that after your public hearing in November, he's added in this language that you, quote, "left open substantive terms for identification and inclusion of appropriate and agreed upon terms and conditions for said zoning ordinance and text terms amendment completion." So that was an addition that Dave made. On page 2, I added in the variety of exhibits that are referenced. And again, this was a standard road ordinance copied from 2 prior ones. At that point, there was contemplation that we may have a plat. We didn't, so I changed the word subdivision plat to site plan, because that's what we have. Page 3, again, as this particular project, I had gone back and forth with Mr. Sherry. I'd asked him if he had any engineering letters that we could attach as an exhibit. He indicated, although he had reviewed it, there wasn't a particular letter. So what I did is I took out that particular section and instead wrote in, "Any and all development of this project shall comply with any and all required town engineering review." So those were the only changes to the ordinance. Next, as we go to the development agreement, again here on page 1, I took out in the whereas sections a reference to a final engineering review, as we don't have a specific exhibit here. I inserted the dates that the Plan Commission met and the votes on page 1. On page 2, I will have to change this now again. I anticipated that last evening was going to be the Town Council public meeting, so I'll have to change March 3 to a new date. I updated planned unit development plan, identified the exhibits, so that's another change on page 2, just identifying the exhibits. Page 3, the addition that Mr. Austin made there is there's a section on what law is going to govern. Mr. Austin has added in that if there's a dispute, that it's going to be resolved in circuit or superior court, which is not objectionable at all. On page 4, Mr. Austin had wanted in paragraph 13 that we specifically identify here what uses are going to be here, so I wrote in, "This mixed use shall be a mixture of agricultural, R2, B1, B2, and resort zoning uses, as is found in Exhibit D." So that's just a replication of what is found elsewhere. On the top of page 5, one of the questions that Mr. Kubiak and I had gone back and forth on was whether or not, if there's going to be an R2 home developed, would they be exempt from any municipal park dedication or park impact fees. Kubiak said this, they're not going to be exempt, so recognizing that, I wrote in the following: "Any R2 homes developed shall not be exempt from any existing municipal park area dedication or park impact or related park fees," and that preserves compensation for the town if there's an R2 home developed. On page 5 also, there are a couple of town labels switched from lower T to uppercase T. Page 6, a couple of lowercase d developers switched to big D. Mr. Austin and I had discussed what if there's a need for emergency access to the town beyond the easement area for water and for sewer. So per his request, I wrote in the following: "An emergency access agreement shall extend along all driveways into the development should an emergency instance arise due to a breach of any sewer or water line. This emergency access easement is hereby granted to the town of Cedar Lake or their authorized agents and/or contractors should an emergent condition arise which necessitates the immediate repair or shut-off of the involved system to avoid harm to the public utility systems." Then on page 7, there's the insertion of the word "the." There's changing the word "per" to "pursuant." There's an addition of some legalese of, quote, "and as followed therein." Page 8, Mr. Austin had a question about review tolling and 72-month time frame for commencement. What about completion? That's already been identified in extension. We had talked about this back in September. It was a question that Mr. Wilkening had raised, so we put that into the phase development plan, but I just regurgitated that same language here as follows. See attached as Exhibit F. Should this phase development plan not be achieved in the construction timeline pursuant to Exhibit F, the developer shall be required to return to the Plan Commission to receive an extension, which shall not be unreasonably withheld pursuant to terms as found in the construction timeline. Also on that page, there's a reference to the public meeting of the town council. I'll need to update that. And those are the changes to Exhibit C. Exhibit D, which is the guidelines. On page 2, I inserted the words Exhibit B and D. On page 3, I inserted the third day of March as the town council public meeting. I will need to update that. On page 4, Mr. Austin had wanted us to include a certificate of good standing for BSC Real Estate LLC. I've added that as Exhibit G. Page 5, again, this dates back to the original submission back in June. There was a reference to the word plat. I've identified here the following, quote, "Plat shall mean the Friary Farms PUD development plat, which is to be created hereafter in accordance with all terms as found in this PUD and with the consent and approval of the Cedar Lake Plan Commission." The submission back in September, October, and as what is approved on November 5 indicates that within 6 months of approval from the town council, we'll have to submit for a subdivision plat. So this just re-emphasizes that. Page 6, there's a lot of blue there. That's just highlighted. Dave, comments to the right for your digestion. Page 7, nothing. Page 8, we had in there that if there was going to be any other businesses beyond those identified in here, that it needed to come back to the town's authorized planning body and jurisdictional entity. I've crossed that off and just written the Plan Commission to clarify that it comes back to you. Page 9, I added in that all lot sizes shall be as set forth on the subdivision site plan. See Exhibit B and A, just clarifying what exhibits we're referencing, as that was an open field. And then the only other red line, that's it. So those are the red line changes that I made since our last meeting when we had an update, the majority of which are just to add in the clarifications, Exhibit A, B, C, D, E, or F.
We did have a lady stand up after you guys left last night and asked what happens if you have a wedding, you have a concert, and you've got a mass amount of vehicles and they all start heading out. What will we do with the congestion? Will your client hire police to direct traffic? And she was also concerned about lighting on Parrish Avenue.
So good questions, Mr. Carnahan. I think a couple of different things. The sizing of the development and the traffic generated is really no different than what we have right out here with the lighthouse and the size of the venue and people that they have. You have 300 parking spots out there. Routinely they have corporate events, weddings, etc., and they exit to a very dimly lit out there with a hill right to the right. We've already had engineers taking a look at this question. This was something that was important to my client when we started this process. Earlier tonight it was referenced site visibility angles. The site visibility angles at the ingress-egress here are phenomenal. You have a curve that's way to the right that slows down traffic, and there's a huge extension of the driveway that leads up to this, where you ingress off of Parrish. So there's plenty of opportunity for stacking. So as I think through, I was going in my mind after I heard that comment last evening, you go to Avalon Manor, you go to the wedding venue that's in Valparaiso, really a lot of other areas. Traffic doesn't leave all at once. It's scattered as it leaves. And from everything that we've seen in our investigation so far, this idea of congestion here causing a problem, we're not seeing it. It's a very safe ingress-egress area for Parrish. The site visibility is awesome.
All right.
Yep, thanks.
So you watched the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Do the 3 Plan Commission town council members that are here, do they have any questions or comments?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Luke, have you signed off and been able to review on all of this? Are you willing to sign off and review?
Well, I haven't seen any engineering at all on this yet. Everything's been just kind of a concept plan at this point.
From the concept standpoint, though, are you okay with what we have so far?
Yeah, conceptually, everything's okay.
Okay. Good to hear that. Mr. Austin, I just went through this. I don't think the plan commissioners have the PUD agreement or the proposed PUD agreement, but I went through it from what was in my packet. And I concur with everything that Nathan just said. What's in here, do you have any other concerns legally about the PUD zoning for this site?
Well, it's going to be a PUD, so my comments have to do with making certain all the details are agreed upon and sufficiently accurate, so we do not have any clarification post-adoption. Now, that being said, I have not read the last document. I just got it last Thursday or Friday.
And I don't know if you have the same document as I was just going through, but as he...
Well, at the last 10 days, there's been some flurry of activity of exchange and catch up and the like. So I didn't stay at the speed that they were being delivered to me because I've got part of my practice I have to worry about.
Yeah, you got about 197 other things going at a time, obviously.
So the last item, certainly heard Nathan's explanation. Don't have a dispute that that's what the documentation says. I don't know how accurate it is related to all the other items.
Okay, so you still need a little time on that?
Well, I'm going to make a little time to look at the blue lines for sure and make a report to you. Some of my comments are regularly to you. What do you think? Is this what you are looking for or anticipating? Is this your understanding? It's not my agreement. I'm your review person. I'm your auditor, if you will, related to the legalities and completion of documents consistent with the representation, the application made, and the processing. So we're at a point where it's near the end, the finish line's right in front of us, but not crossed it.
Well, I had some conversations with some of them quite in detail with some other council members today. And I think the majority of the council, of course there was 4 votes to remand it back to the Plan Commission obviously, but the majority of the council would like for these things to be done, completed, reviewed, and agreed with by the professionals that the town pays to be in this room to weigh in on such decisions. And that's a hang-up for some people, and I think it's a hang-up for some people that have been observing these proceedings as well. We have a professional engineer here, we have a professional attorney here, we've got somebody that has a whole lot of time in the building department and in building in his life. All these things need to be considered and agreed upon before anything moves out of the Plan Commission. That is the feeling of the majority of the town council. So, and again, I can't compare this project to any other project that has been dealt with here in the last 20 years. It is a very unique project, which means it needs more consideration than the boilerplate stuff we normally get that is engineered and pretty much done at every work session before it goes to a public meeting. This hasn't been that. So, I'm not going to keep talking here. Any other plan commissioners have anything they want to add? But I would like for you to have, me personally, the time to review this thing, see if it has enough teeth for enforcement, and move on to whatever the timelines are to get engineering done.
That was clearly my plan, with your direction. Now, we want to talk about circumstances here and the planning curve. It doesn't relate specifically to Attorney Bisson's client, but in a general sense, we've been through at least 4 administrative assistants in the last 5 years, 6 years. We've been through lead administrators here, 5 of them in the last 6, 7 years. There's been a transition of personnel that needs to be trained better and or more focused, and we need to develop some better internal procedures for document requests from the petitioners, clarity. I use the word clarity a few times in the documents, and if you read my notes, we talk about clarity. If it's not clear, then it's not enforceable. And getting some objective guidelines to proceeding, and including all the right people. You asked me to look at your legal document for review and verification, and I don't have a single scrap of information from staff level meetings about what's been talked about, conceptualized and agreed upon for discussion purposes, or any other going forward documentation for agreement. So when I get these documents, I said this to somebody today, I'm at the tail end of the train, it's pulling away. I'm the last person in a substantive way, other than perhaps the engineer. I don't know what, along the way I hear Nathan talk about confirming this with you, Luke, and the like. I believe that. I believe that's happened. But that's not everybody. And when you read the 1500 series about PUDs, and you read our zoning ordinance about PUDs, you'll see things like a development agreement are important. That's the basis for having a PUD, deviation with consideration from our zoning regulations. But what are they? That's a big question in my mind as your attorney. And all those things can be changed.
Well,
improved upon.
the consensus, I can't speak for everybody on the council, the consensus is the town council wants a tangible PUD agreement that they can vote on. That has been blessed by Luke and yourself. Tim, obviously, all your concerns have been dealt with because you were immediately involved in some of the resolution of this. But for everybody's clarity, we want a clean PUD document that can be voted on.
Don't we have that now?
We do not.
Why? I
What's
don't,
missing from it?
Review.
well,
He just went through all kinds of red line. How many times does he have to review it?
He hasn't reviewed, he got the final document last Friday. The meeting was on Tuesday. There was no time for him to review it completely before it came to the town council last night.
And Luke's only seen the concept plan.
Well, this has been going on since, prior to September.
I agree.
Either,
The reason why it stalled is because it got sent to the town council before it was ready, and Tim had to get involved in it to get it cleaned up and clarified. That's the problem.
well, I think we need to know from the zoning department, the engineering department, and the attorney, what they need, so we can incorporate it with what we need.
Well, Jim, with all due respect, the night that this got sent to the town council with a recommendation, there were still concerns from the attorney, the building department, and the engineer. And it got sent anyway. So that just, frankly, that was the worst thing that could have happened for your clients and for you, instead of just getting a deferral and cleaning it up and be done with it.
so Mr. Parker, respectfully, in September, this was teed up for a public hearing. At that point, we asked for a deferral to October, and you were instructed that it was improper and illegal to defer the public meeting. So we waited and we republished everything again, even though the original publication notice we were given to use in September by town staff says at the bottom, as does everyone's, that meetings can be deferred. We were waiting then for
Nathan, the only reason why it would get deferred is because it wasn't ready to be approved by engineering, legal, and even the building department.
Right, and when we got to the October meeting, it still hadn't been reviewed by legal. That was one of the concerns that was raised, and there was questions that was raised by Mr. Kubiak. Despite that, as you identified, there was a motion that was passed on November 5.
Correct. And it was the worst thing that could have happened.
And
And it was
actually-
good for you, in fact, that you could sit down with the building department, he'll help you clarify these things.
Because I've been trying since we filed this in June to sit down and say, what do you want?
I understand, but if you're sitting in my seat, you have to have an enforceable PUD document to have a clear conscience on voting on anything.
Right, so 2 weeks ago, I received a blue line version, which is what you just read through, and the majority of the blue line is changing little d's to big D's, little t's to big T's, and some legalese.
That's a clean document.
Right, and on top of that, we needed to add in all of the exhibits, now that we had the time, we had the minutes and everything, and that's what I've added in. And there's about 4 other instances. And if we go back to September and October, Mr. Sherry's comment on the record was, this is a zoning document, I really don't have anything to do with it until we get into the engineered site
Correct.
plan, and that's when we dive in.
And that's where we want to get, Nathan. We want to get a clean document, an enforceable one, so we can move on to that
And we do, but
stage.
if we cut through the information that we just got, Mr. Austin's office has reviewed it. He's raised some questions on the right-hand side for consideration, as he says he normally does. I guess these are just tossed out there, they're on the right-hand side. I don't know what to do with them. I've answered where he wanted inserts into them. It's a clean document with his review. I'm not sure what another review of my exhibit labeling is going to give.
Clarity for everybody.
But we're going to continue with his comments to the right. For example, he writes, petitioner application. Then he writes, put in sequence and identify for clarity and implementation. I did that.
These are the things that he feels that we need to have an enforceable document.
Right, and I agreed to all of his blue line changes. No objection.
There is a misconception here, and I commented on it to the town council last night. I do not represent the developer. I represent you. My comments are not made for the developer, they're made for you. That's why you see it in the format and way you see what I send you. And I didn't send it to Nathan until after it was completely circulated to you.
And what I need to know is, with Dave's comments, is there anything else that you're suggesting to change? The impasse that we're at right now is Dave has raised questions from a legal perspective. Are you, the Plan Commission, satisfied?
Nathan, I just told you what I wanted. I want him to make sure that we have a clean legal document that we can vote on. Ever how long that takes, I mean, obviously it's a priority. And then it needs to be voted on and clarified.
By who? Town
I'm gonna
council?
refer to you on that at this point, because this thing has been batted around and manipulated so much.
There's a remand back to the Plan Commission from the town council out of last night's action. So you will need to send it back to the town council. Town council will adopt an ordinance.
So does that mean at their next public meeting, they need to take a vote on it again?
They will need to take a vote, and it'll be when they put it on an agenda. Not me. I don't put things on agendas here.
If he tells me that it's a clean enforceable document, I'm willing to vote for it the next meeting.
What my client desperately needs is that if there are questions that are raised on the right-hand side, and I can't get a response from the Plan Commission on answering them, then what we have out there are these lingering questions. A lot of these are the same questions from the legal review that happened in September of last year. When I compared them side by side this afternoon, they're the exact same questions that I received on a red line review back in September.
Dave, how much more time do you need for this review?
Another couple of days, it'll be done.
Okay.
I will need to update. We had in there 6 months to September to get item and other review. Now that we're put out a month, I'm gonna have to update that to October. So that will be a change. And I'll get that made tomorrow morning, I'll recirculate it. Yeah.
So,
Make sure Luke gets it too.
Yeah.
yes, then,
So we could put this on the next town council agenda on March 17th. If David can have it reviewed in a couple days, he said, we can go ahead and put it for March 17th, town council.
well, it has to come from us first.
So is the next step, Plan Commission again, then town council?
Well, that's why it was sent to them, so you could review it. I did my work for you.
So the next step would be March 18th, Plan Commission, and then April 4th for council?
Whatever,
Okay.
yeah, but it has to come to us first because it was sent back to us. Now, my question is, the only thing that we need is Mr. Austin to review what Nathan is holding in his hand. And Luke. So if the plan commission tell me that, because that's what the plan commission wants.
And Luke,
I mean, the town council.
Luke, he has to look at it too.
And what does
There was
Luke
a
need?
concept plan when he looked at it last.
I'm asking Luke, not you. What does Luke need to get this off dead center?
I just wanna see what's changed since the last time I've looked at it,
In that paperwork?
in that paperwork.
I'll
Sounds
send it out.
like it'd be pretty quick review for me.
Okay. What else do we need? I wanna get this off dead center.
Needs to go to the town council for adoption.
That's it.
Those two items.
Wait,
So you need to review that. Once you review it,
I need to review the last set marked with the last comments, whatever they are. I don't know what they are because I haven't looked. And then I need to send you a transmittal.
you need to review his answers to your comments.
I think, yeah.
so I will tweak those couple of dates. I will resend it in the morning. And am I hearing that it must go back to Plan Commission, or is this sufficient? Because what I'm hearing tonight is the only request of the Plan Commission is they want to verify legal is in order, which is what the November 5 motion was.
It has to come back to us.
And that was the November 5 motion.
It has to come back to us so we can send a favorable recommendation to the town council so that they can put it back onto their agenda because they sent it back to us and took it off of their plate.
John, that's exactly right. Spot on.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So now, we want to put this to vote in 2 weeks. So, as your employee, as your employer, get it reviewed so we have it for that meeting.
You pointing your finger at me, John?
This one with a nail on it.
Just wanna make sure I know which one.
Okay, no, it's the right one. It's the pointing finger. I wouldn't do that to you.
John, for the record, we have deadlines on when things have to be submitted, and you can't submit them on Friday and expect for them to get voted on Tuesday. We have deadlines, we need to adhere to those deadlines. We make people adhere to deadlines,
Deadline is noon Friday before the meeting.
not Friday evening.
It wasn't Friday
I
evening.
didn't say Friday evening. Now, wait a minute. We're gonna adhere to, let's keep this in perspective here. I want reviews done, I want it back in, I want it into staff by noon on Friday before the meeting, so that the next plan commission meeting, we can vote on it. Period. And what we need is a review by Mr. Austin and a review by Luke.
That's fine. I appreciate that. Like I said, since November 5, I've been waiting on a review. We got it. We're here. We're not happy about it. We want to move forward, and I hope that there's no other reasons for delay here. If there's anything else, I guess, we're here. Is there anything else? You guys have seen his comments. I know they were shared 2 weeks ago with town staff, with commissioners. Is there anything else?
Well, I'll tell you what would help in the future, Nathan, and this is for you personally, and I'm not trying to make an attack on you, but when something needs a deferral for concerns from the building department, the engineering department, and legal, probably don't want to push past that deferral because it just screws things up. That's what screwed this up.
I'm not going to answer that because every month, I will answer it, from July all the way through November, I pleaded, I begged, I cajoled at every meeting, and at every meeting, more was added, so I had to constantly add and redline.
Well, and I told you before, this is a complicated, unique situation.
I agree with you.
It's not gonna be a rubber stamp.
I agree with you. It's very complicated, and I think we have a good final product here that the town and my
This is
client
all
can be
anybody
happy
was
with.
looking for.
Yep. Okay, I will get that out tomorrow morning if there's no other comments to be changed to it, and we'll look forward to meeting with everybody in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. All right, discussion, short-term rental ordinance discussion. This was, the Plan Commission, directed Mr. Everly to put together a short-term rental agreement or ordinance for the town for all the...
Mr. Eldridge, and I'm a little scared to talk about this after the previous discussion, but I will, everybody's kind of fired up.
Well,
You said Mr. Everett.
I do wanna talk about it a little bit, if that's okay. You asked.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about it, or?
Yeah, just real quick before Mr. Parker starts, some background on this. I was asked last summer to somehow address parking concerns with short-term rentals in town. Something with some teeth that law enforcement could enforce with all the parking on the side of the road. So, we looked at, recent market data, says there's roughly 24 active, Airbnbs or VRBOs in Cedar Lake, with about 49% occupancy annually. And so the best way, and I met with, the police chief to discuss, how we enforce parking for these, short-term rentals. And if we had no ordinance, we can't say who's with what house, rental property. So this short-term rental, for Airbnbs, basically, the bottom line is they'll put in an application, they'll register their short-term rental with the town. They will meet with town staff, and they will be given, parking requirements. They will be given a color-coded, placard to go on the front of the building for each year, color-coded per year. If there is a complaint, for parking or loud noise, law enforcement can come out. This is prominently displayed on the front of the building. You're allowed 3 cars. There's 3 cars and 6 out in the road. Now they have something they can start enforcing parking with. I know that there's been some emails going back and forth. This is up to the Plan Commission how you want to do this. When it was initially given to the Plan Commission to review, it was welcomed by several of the Plan Commission members. It's just a way to try to enforce parking. It's not to generate income or anything for the town. It's up to you guys to decide how you want to move forward with it.
When that was initially requested to be looked at, and I don't know if we've had any lately, it's been winter, but last summer we had several situations where people rent Airbnbs. And 10, 15, 20 cars show up for a, say, Cedar Point Park or Surprise Park or someplace like that. They show up with 15, 16 cars and basically have a party in the Airbnb property, and the people who live in these areas full-time can't access their driveways, their yards.
Right.
Emergency vehicles can't get through. There's a number of issues that these things, and there's no way to deal with it.
Right.
Also, what if your own residence, you have a birthday party, a graduation party, you have 15 or 20 vehicles show up?
Well, that's a little different deal, Jim. I guess if you live there and you're gonna probably take cost to respect your neighbors in a situation like that.
Well, I know in our neighborhood, if someone has a party, they line up along the street.
In your neighborhood, I can see them doing that because you have a subdivision that was planned out and has street thoroughfares. In Cedar Point Park, you got what, a 15-foot easement, 14-foot easement? 1 car passes, 1 car has to pull over to the shoulder for another car to pass. These are the situations that are coming up and causing the problems.
Woodland Shores as well.
Woodland Shores, Cedar Point Park, Surprise Park.
The older subdivision.
If we can determine what's an
An Airbnb.
Airbnb, we can give them, like, parking slips. Okay, you're allowed 4 cars here. you have a slip in the car, or police come along and you don't have a slip in your car, we told.
What we have right now is whoever owns the property doesn't really give a damn what the neighbors have to contend with, they just want their short-term rental money. That's the problem. So, looking for a solution for that, because we are a lake resort community, we probably wouldn't have this problem in Crown Point or Lowell. We have it because we have...
Recreation.
Yes. A common sense solution to that problem. Maybe there isn't one, because there's been all sorts of things batted back and forth. Generating revenue, I don't think it should generate more revenue than it costs to enforce it. I don't know how you enforce it. I think the police department would need to enforce it. I wasn't trying to put something on the building department, because generally this happens on the weekend. So, just trying to find a solution for a recurring nuisance problem.
Right.
I don't think it ought to be just, right down there, bugaboos. We can't get through there sometime, or so many cars are.
I agree.
There gotta be some kind of restriction for that too then.
And that's another thing that the police department should be addressing, in my view. That's just my view.
So with this ordinance, over the last couple of months, we had 3 or 4 meetings with building staff, the inspectors, Mr. Kubiak, Mrs. Bauer, and we went through the ordinance and picked it apart and added stuff, deleted stuff, had a finished product, gave it to them again, give it one last look over, and made a few more changes to it. And it does have a fine structure, a fee structure in the back. There's an annual application fee. First of all, the Airbnb rental permit is not anything new that we are creating here. It took bits and pieces from different communities who have these rental agreements for Airbnbs. But there's an application fee of $150 a year. Annual consecutive renewals are just $100. For violations for the ordinance violations is $100 plus a $50 per day of continued violation. Second offense, it escalates to $250, $50 per day.
Is that to the homeowner or
to the property owner
to the
of
property
the Airbnb. Third offense is $500 plus $50 per day. So the fees really aren't outrageous, and they're pretty much in line with what other communities are charging for their ordinance violation fees.
How many are registered now, Airbnbs? How many do we have registered in town now?
None, but there are, like I said, there's about 24, a quick look online, there's 24 active Airbnb and VRBO rentals in Cedar Lake.
We have to determine how we determine what's the Airbnb, or someone just having a guest over.
Well, so right now we can go online and we can find out the addresses of the Airbnbs. So we got 24 that we can send letters to and let them know, hey, this is what we are requiring or considering. The other thing we talked about when I met with the police chief was if they're going to have an Airbnb and they're approved to have 2 cars, then they have to have a tag that goes in their car. So when police arrive, they can look at their permit that's displayed on the outside. You're allowed to have 2 cars. Here's 2 cars with your Airbnb tags in them, and there's 6 cars out front, so they have to go. They get ticketed or towed or whatever the case may be. The other option that we looked at, what came from my meeting with the police chief was, and this was kind of not very well received, but if they go out to a birthday party in your neighborhood and there's 15 cars on there, how do we know who is from Cedar Lake and what cars are from out of town? And it was suggested that, there are communities in Illinois who use a tag. Tinley Park, for one, they use a tag in the window. So now police can arrive. They've got a Cedar Lake tag, Cedar Lake tag, Cedar Lake tag. And these people don't, so we know they're not from Cedar Lake. And then it makes it a bit more enforcement for parking. But that wasn't very well received. Because
somebody from Illinois may come to their birthday party.
Right.
At the end of the day, Ben, this discussion wasn't to punish people in Cedar Lake.
Oh, absolutely. It was to enforce parking.
It was to enforce disrespect of short-term. Frankly, it's a nuisance for the police department too.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't disagree with everything you got there. I don't know if I agree with all of it. I need to look at it some more, and it needs to be reviewed with other plan commissioners and council members and see what makes sense.
yeah. So I think I forwarded, the copy to Plan Commission and Council, a month and a half, 2 months ago. I know it was forwarded to Attorney Austin, and,
I hate that this is even necessary.
I agree. But there's a lot of concern about enforcing parking, on these tight roads. And so this is, again, the first step in trying to get that under control. And then it's, we can tweak this however you want to do it.
And just looking into this, there was a lot of people that were in the building department and stuff that have rented some of these, and a lot of mostly everybody says that any of these buildings that they do rent has a strict policy that you can't have parties in them. That's part of their deal. So with this approval, that's kind of what we're looking at, their contract, and kind of like, I mean, supposedly that's a thing. When you go to rent these places, you're allowed to have your capacity of people that's allowed to sleep there, and that's it. You can't rent it and invite 75 people there to have a big party, or it violates the contract of...
Well, I think the first thing would be to get the Airbnb registered and get permits. Get them registered first, that'd be the first step, get them, and in that contract, show them what they have to do, or what they can do, and what they can't do.
That's all a part of their approval process, that we
Right.
assure that, and I guess that happens, that's a normal thing, so I don't know, I never stayed in one, but from what I've been told is, that's a normal deal with the rental contract, so that would be a part of ensuring who these people are doing these same types of things. And now, if they know, I mean, again, we put a lot of effort into coming up with this. I mean, Ben changed it 10 times throughout, we kept looking at it and saying, well, and then he'd look at it, what about this and what about this?
When the person that signs the application, can it be put in there that if they, deny or don't follow the rules, it can be denied another permit for the following year for Airbnb?
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you read this, the fines progress as you don't listen, and everything is very well, I mean, I think it's, you write down to the amount of the fines, the number of the cars, the number of the people. If a officer shows up there and looks at that tag, you could see exactly what they are approved for. They're approved for 8 people, and there's 30 people in there. They're violating their deal, but...
Legislate for the exception, not the rule, but at the end of the day, there's nothing we can enforce currently, other than...
Right. And if there's not a problem, they're not gonna call the police out there, or, what I mean?
If there's not a problem, you're not gonna hear about it.
Correct.
You're only gonna hear about it when there's a problem, but there has to be
something they have teeth to.
something you can use if you have the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look through this, I think it's pretty...
You don't want my opinion.
I do want your opinion.
Creating more government here. This is, and it's seemingly addressed to a very small part of the population, and it's seemingly targeting in a way that is unequal in treatment.
Well, Dave, what do you do when the situation happens and the police go out there and the police, well, there's nothing we can do.
Well, I guess if we decide that, it's true, Greg. If we decide that's not the case.
You've seen this.
From the ground, seeing and dealing with it, some of the things you guys are talking about is kind of, we're going overboard, this I would definitely not, I think their ideal would identify it as an Airbnb, well, that's nuts, because then people are going to break into it, if they want to turn it someone there, that's going to be a part of it. A lot of the issues we've been having with this, especially on lockdown and COVID, with the parties. And honestly, what I would do, I wouldn't have a number of people or whatever, you give them 2 passes for the Airbnb, car passes, and put it on them. anything else, if they're blocking the roadway, impeding traffic, they're gonna tow it in.
Is that what has happened in the past?
If you're impeding the flow of traffic out the roadway, in a one-lane road, they're gonna impede it.
What do you do on the
I agree with
further?
Attorney Austin, we're targeting people.
I would disagree. We're not targeting anybody. I mean, there are numerous communities across the state of Indiana who have Airbnb ordinances. It's not targeting, it's an ordinance.
What do you do on the 4th of July though, when everybody's having parties here in town, there's 50 people coming to watch the fireworks on the lake?
I guess my question for Officer Machak is, I'm sorry, Corporal Machak. Is the parking, have you guys found that the parking has been a real issue?
I can probably count on one hand how many times.
In what time frame?
It's always in the summer or 4th of July.
But in one hand and per year, or?
Yeah, per year. I mean, it's really, and this is kind of hit and miss. I would honestly say, just keep it simple. With the permit, like you said, with that hangar, we can see it, and we can check their paperwork. We work with your Airbnb ordinance with your license or whatever you want to do, and then we check that everything is, there's only supposed to be 2 cars per lane, per car. That's it. You know, and then it's gonna cut down on people renting these for parties or whatever. Hey, you only have 2 cars, each car can hold 5 people. That's it. How many people can you get in that car? 5 people, 4 people, whatever. Anyone else? Gotta go.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this is. If you read it, that's what this is. It's pretty.
Public comment, could I comment on this also?
You might as well go.
I mean, we've gone.
Might as well.
Might as well go into public comment.
No, I can.
Well, I mean, this gentleman
Go
talked,
ahead.
I mean.
Go ahead.
Our family
Yes.
uses B&Bs quite frequently, over different times of the year. Usually when you go to a B&B, you're invited to go someplace you're gonna bring your family in. You can't, 2 cars is, you're not just gonna come in 2 cars.
So this is the problem, and this is why, so, I mean, not every resident, you could go by residences or whatever, because some of these areas, you can barely fit 1 car. Right. That's a rental.
Well,
It has to be by site.
And if you look at the process, each location is going to be inspected and looked at.
Yeah.
For, if somebody has a place to park 12 cars, and that's what they get approved for, that's what they get approved for. So the 2 cars is just or just talk, but each place would have to show a site plan or see like, hey, here's my 4 parking spaces, I got 2 spaces in the garage and 4 spaces in the driveway, whatever the case is. So that number would be 6 on their permit. So essentially, you can't have a place with one little place to pull off the side of the road and have 6 parking spots. You know, you gotta show the place, which would be,
between a personal party, why would that be any different than a B&B having a party, or having a gathering? I mean, if you're having having a birthday party.
and again, it's not necessarily the party, it's just the place.
Well, I mean,
If the place can hold 15 or 20 people comfortably with 6 parking spaces, then that's gonna be what's on their permit. If it's a little 1-bedroom place with 1 parking spot, you know what I mean? It's gonna be, each place is gonna be evaluated for its function. It's not just.
Well, when the police come by, will they say, oh, this is a Airbnb, they're only 2 people, but
no.
You got a house having a party down the street, a birthday party, and you got a lot of cars.
So the enforcement would only be for the Airbnb on this parking in addition. If you're a resident and you're having a private party at your house and you're not an Airbnb, you certainly wouldn't be able to enforce that. So, and then, secondly, with an Airbnb, and Tim brought up a good point, if you got a big driveway and you can allow 4 cars in that driveway, well, 4 cars brings 4 people, 5 people, that's 20 people. Now, for example, Greg mentioned earlier tonight about, what about the nights of the fireworks where there's not so many cars, but there's 100 people at the house? You really can't really enforce how many people somebody can have in their house, because if you do that, then you have to do it privately too. And as Dave said, we can't single out just Airbnb people, so the ordinance would have to be pretty vague, wouldn't it? So it does like Doug says, does it make sense to get too complicated?
Well, the reason why I called it a short-term rental, or a short-term rental ordinance, is because in my discussions this summer was, we need to do something to address short-term rental Airbnbs.
It makes sense.
So that's where that came from. And then that's how this came to how it is. The ordinances here, the application we have here is, it's actually pretty short, pretty mild. City of South Bend has Airbnb ordinance, Airbnb application, because of the Notre Dame football games, there's a lot of houses that are rented out over the weekends. Their ordinance is quite extensive. And, they gotta have electricians inspected, and it's crazy what they do. So we've really scaled this back to try to make it as simple as possible for the town of Cedar Lake as a starting point to do something with to try to control parking, but not make it overburdensome for the owner of the Airbnb.
Even, the whole nutshell of this, even if they don't personal party, okay, and have parking or whatever, if you're blocking the roadway, we're gonna ask you to move your car, if you don't move it, you can move it, so. And that's what that is.
But it wouldn't be considered over parking on public roads because you're a private resident. What we're saying here, Doug, and I think everybody's in agreement, if you're filed and permitted as an Airbnb, then you're gonna have a structured parking program on file. Makes total sense. There's one thing nobody's talked about here. In some of our neighborhoods, which Greg mentioned, where we're a lane and a half, we got cars pulling over on the soft shoulders. We got, you're talking about residents, grass getting sunk with ruts during the spring and wet areas, and we're talking about Cedar Point. That's wet down there. You go off into somebody's front grass, think of the stress and anger that you're creating. Some of these areas probably wouldn't even be a good spot for an Airbnb in a sense, right? So there's a lot of different things to be looked at here, but I believe Dave's right. If you start singling out people, you're opening yourself up for a can of worms, unlike what we're talking about.
Well, perhaps
keeping it simple is probably best, like Doug said.
Perhaps we could, one thing I have not done, what I've done is gone to other municipalities, looked at their ordinances, pulled stuff from them. Perhaps I should reach out to them and speak to them in person and say, hey, how many complaints have you guys had for targeting because you have an Airbnb ordinance? And get, actually talk face to face to community leaders and say, how do you handle the targeting complaints because you have an Airbnb ordinance, and see how they handle that.
One last thing, and finishing, if we make it too hard, people won't permit themselves anyway. And that's a whole other thing, of course, trying to figure out who's doing what. So.
At the end of the day, what this boils down to is I'm trying to get us a starting point on a problem that I was asked to figure out how to address. And it's just a starting point. If you guys don't want to, I think you've all had this for a couple months. If it's something you don't want, that's okay. I was just trying to start something, get something going on a request that was made to me last summer.
I think
we got a lady out there that raised her hand.
Well, are you the chairman? Mr. Chairman, is it okay for me to talk, or?
What?
Mr. Kernan don't want me talking. He wants to let the lady, do you recognize her, or?
Yeah, I've seen her before.
Okay.
I want to understand what we're doing. So when you book an Airbnb, it's between the client and the Airbnb, and they do have regulations, whatever. But you said there's only 25 active Airbnb. So how do, on the back end, does the Airbnb company notify the town that they're in? Or, how do we know?
Well,
Unless they don't,
if
they don't advertise.
Yeah.
Say they don't,
If you,
don't advertise on Airbnb, they don't have a sign, how
If-
does our town know?
if you go to the Airbnb website or VRBO website, it'll show the houses and the addresses in the town and community. So those we can reach out to and let them know, hey, we have this new ordinance, and so on and so forth. The other thing that needs to be looked at, which was brought up in one of our planning meetings, is these Airbnbs are businesses. And so how do we handle that? It's, you know, we find people operating businesses out of their homes and we get right on them. These are businesses being operated out of their homes. Do we need an ordinance like this, to address those? A use variance. Are we gonna make all 24 owners of these Airbnbs come to Plan Commission, and introduce themselves and say,
Or by registering for this, by registering for this,
You gotta remember, a lot of these people that own these Airbnbs don't live in Clear Lake.
Yeah.
They live in other parts of the country, so they don't care, it's a business. They don't care about the local.
Yeah,
So,
there was a realtor that came to my office last week, and she said, well, she goes, I heard that we're gonna have an Airbnb ordinance, and we're gonna outlaw Airbnbs in Cedar Lake. And I have clients that wanna buy this house, but they only are gonna be here for 2 or 3 weeks out of the year, and they wanna rent it out as an Airbnb the rest of the time. And I said, no, we wanna be open for business. We're not shutting down Airbnbs, but we're suggesting or recommending or pursuing an ordinance that requires registration of your Airbnb. So.
If you're gonna classify them as a business, they need to go to the BZA and get a use variance. So, yes, so you're gonna make.
Anything on record at the county or state level, law-wise?
I was talking here.
Oh, I'm sorry, John, I thought you were finished, my fault, I am totally sorry, sir. I want your point of view.
But if you have 24 of them, they're all 24 of them would have to go to the BZA and get approved. This apparently needs a lot more work done to it.
Right.
And so, but it's
I'm
good,
back,
Ray,
there
it's
might
good.
not be a solution.
Pardon?
I'm back, there might not be a solution.
Well, there might not be. They have to stay the way it is. But at least we started something here. And, we've got a lot of good input from the audience here. And plus people up here. So I think we should devote a little more time on it. And look at it again and say in about a month.
I agree there's a lot more work that needs to be done to it.
Yeah.
But if this is gonna be a dead issue, then it's, a waste of manpower.
I can't say that on my own, I get overwhelmed.
I guess, does the Plan Commission want us to continue tweaking this and?
Well, that's.
I like that either, but I think the first thing to do is get them registered. If they're not registered, then they're in violation, for sure. Get them registered. And Mr. Petruk, is there an ordinance against parking on the streets, town ordinance? So, I mean, if they're parked on the street, you can do it right now with the town ordinance.
Yeah, and we usually deal with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're in blocking the flow of traffic, we're dealing with it. There's state laws and there's a town ordinance.
Well, maybe it's covered already.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting, we're talking about people with parties at their own homes. If they're in the street, we'll deal with it. If they're on someone else's property, then there's other avenues we can deal with. But, what Mr. Elder was saying, we just have to document it as Airbnb for business and give them a parking pass so we know that they're there for that Airbnb. So they're not renting it out and raised in the house. Big parties. That's it. Keep it simple.
Cliff, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to say something?
I just wanted to, there's already a state statute in place, 36-1, I can't remember offhand now, 36-1-24, that applies to short-term rentals. It already lays out pretty much the guidelines that a municipality needs to pass this ordinance. The ordinance just needs to be passed for the enforcement because it's a Class C infraction. And so then you may want to review that chapter just to familiarize yourself with what the state guidelines are for short-term rentals.
Interesting.
Thank you, Cliff.
Okay, well, we all agree it needs a little more work, so let's leave it at that.
So keep
On
pursuing
this
it.
discussion right now, and maybe look at it in a month and see if we still feel the same way, or, better ideas or what, and you people are welcome back in a month to add to it too. Now, as long as we've been pretty much open, just public comment, any other public comment?
No, but I would like to thank you for allowing the dialogue, John, thank you for that.
You're welcome. That surprised me too.
That's why I said thank you.
Yeah, if you got something to say, please come up. That was kind of impromptu there, but give your name and address, please.
Joyce Ivy, 13874 Hatteras Lane, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. I'm on the steering committee.
Okay.
And so, we had our first meeting. But like someone mentioned, well, we are a resort town, so naturally, we want to promote our, our lake and everything that goes with it. But, we don't really have any hotels in town, is that correct?
We got one on 41, Economy Inn.
Okay.
It's a hotel.
Yes, not exactly.
Thanks, Bob.
Not exactly what I was thinking about, but, so in that instance, I mean, if we had hotels in the future, I mean, isn't that sort of kind of the same thing? You're renting rooms to people, you have a parking lot, there's X amount of parking for your guests.
Well, a hotel would be in a different location than we're talking about right now, because a lot of these Airbnbs are around the lake, or on the lake, or in old subdivisions where there are narrow streets and no curbs and very little parking. So a hotel would definitely be a different situation and probably be built, I don't know, on 41 or someplace.
Well, yeah, you
It would
would
get
think.
planning commission and BZA approvals if it needed it as well, before it was built.
Right.
And if you, a lot of the timeshares that you go to, if you're having a unit for a specific week, you're issued a parking pass to park in there, you're not allowed to park, boats or anybody, and there is limited parking in all of these places for guests, like you said, if you had 20 people coming to your party.
Correct, yeah.
That doesn't work out. But I mean, I see it's good to have, since it is a resort town, an Airbnb, but I can also see where, particularly in our area, a little bit tricky with the parking, especially the properties that are, down closer to the lake, and there's no place to park but on the shoulder. I mean,
Correct.
how do you regulate that?
Yeah, it's
So,
tough.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I've got one.
Who does?
John. I got one. Mr. Eldridge,
Yes,
if you're doing this research, if you're gonna take the time to do that, I would recommend, don't look at South Bend, look at lake towns
Yeah, well,
around here.
I've looked
Because
at-
they're gonna be the ones that are gonna have the small streets where
Yep.
this is gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I pulled up lake towns and South Bend.
Yeah, look
and
like Key West or,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe
no,
Monticello?
Culver.
Yeah, I've looked up lake towns as well, but I was just referencing South Bend because theirs is extremely
No,
complicated.
understood. But yeah, the only place that's gonna have this problem is gonna be a lake town.
Yeah, yep.
Thanks.
Okay, if there's no further comment, comments are closed and we're adjourned. Thank you all.